and good morning to everyone. It's Wednesday, May the 28th, and time for another few words from the pastor. I've been thinking about a thought, believe it or not, in a little story I had read a while ago. Well, in fact, it was quite a while ago. And it has to do with this. It says, there was once a group of 100 people attending a seminar on personal development. And in the middle of the talk, the speaker decides to do an impromptu activity. Now, if we've heard this before, that's okay, because it's still, I think, a valid thought. And he hands out a balloon to every member, all 100 people there. And he asks them to write their name on it. The balloons are then collected and blown up and put in the room next door. He then instructs the 100 people to go into the room and to find the balloon within 5 minutes, find the balloon with their name on it. Well, all of a sudden he says, ready, go. And there's this mad dash and pandemonium, people pushing and shoving and yelling and trying to get to find their room. The balloons are flying everywhere in the room. And after 5 minutes, not one had found his name. And then he says, okay, stop, time's up. What we need to do now, I want you to do, is I want you to everyone to pick a random balloon. Any balloon, left, right, middle, wherever you find a balloon, and give it to the person whose name is on it. And after just a few minutes, everyone had their balloon back. He then said, what just happened with these balloons is what happens to us in our search for happiness. We're frantically looking for happiness all around us. We think it's in our new vacation, a new car, new clothes, new jewelry. We think it's in a new experience, a new event, a new vacation. We're looking for happiness that's going to sustain us. And we're looking everywhere, and it's hard to find. It's almost impossible to find. The thought being, and if there's a moral to the exercise into the thought today, is this: that our happiness, how dependent it is on the happiness of others. And as long as we're frantically looking to satisfy self and to make self, that happiness eludes us. But as soon as we start to focus our attention on other, all of a sudden, the light of happiness seems to invade us and overwhelm us and consume us. We realize that our happiness is dependent on the happiness of others. By giving them their happiness, we get ours. That happiness is a fulfillment. Rarely comes from selfish pursuits, but almost always comes from doing good deeds for others. Breaking it down again, by helping others, we help ourselves. May, as we approach this summer season, as we enter into and closing out this month of May, the month of Mary, may we listen to the words of this little simple story and find a way for us to witness to it ourselves. I'm going to keep pointing out to this in the back of our church. We have a sign over the doorway, it's on the balcony, but just before you leave the church, it says, our mission begins here. Not when you're coming into the church, but when you're leaving the church. That's when our mission begins. Our mission begins of loving God by loving our neighbor. And we love our neighbor by doing for our neighbor, by serving our neighbor. How consistent is the message that Jesus gives us? May we take that message, because in fulfilling that message, we find happiness and joy and peace and hope and light and love ourselves. May the peace, hope, joy, and light of this Easter season still be with us, not only today, but every today and tomorrow of our life. Amen. Amen. Alleluia, alleluia. Become that Hosanna people, that Alleluia people, that people with Easter always in our eyes, on our lips, and in our heart. God bless you all, and hope to see you next week. Okay? Peace joy, hope, light, and the gift of God's love in your hearts always.